Hi.
Hi, Megan. I said goodbye to Jim today.
I can't hear you.
I said goodbye to Jim today. Can you hear me now? No?
Can't hear you.
I'm not. Still can't hear me?
Hmm.
I'm going to sign, I don't know why.
That's weird.
Oh, mute all is on. Can you hear me now? No? You see where it
Oh,
says,
can I try it again.
think you need to do it.
Okay. Yep.
I don't know why that's.
Oh, you weren't muted though. Okay. Let me see if I can hear Anisha. She just logged in. Hey. Anisha, can you hear me? Or can,
Yeah, I can hear you.
oh. Can you talk, try talking again, Anisha?
Hi.
Oh,
Can
I
you hear
can't
me?
hear either of you guys. Shoot.
I can
Should
hear
I-
Anisha. I can hear Anisha. Anisha, can you hear me?
Oh, I can't hear
So
you.
it's,
Oh,
it's something on your end then, Megan.
yeah.
What kind of computer do you have, Megan?
What's that?
Oh,
She wants to know what kind of computer you have. I'll translate.
A
A Mac.
a Mac.
if you go into
Can I
your,
sign out? If I sign out, then the meeting ends, right?
Yes.
Shoot.
Well, let me see if, can you make me a host?
Yeah, yeah, that's a good idea. You're already a co-host,
Yeah, but you want to make me host, don't you?
host,
Where it says more.
make host.
Can you do that?
Yep, I can.
Okay, now I'm a host. Now you can leave.
Okay, I'm gonna leave.
And then is,
okay, we'll see if she comes back.
I have her on the phone. It's
I might see
ridiculous.
her audio settings too.
Well, it's her computer.
Yeah,
Why don't you, Megan, why don't you go to the calendar and just try and log in there?
Well, I can, but then I wouldn't be host.
I can make you host.
Okay.
hi everyone. We'll get started in just a second. Megan is having some technical difficulties.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear us?
Can you hear us now?
No, Jesus.
So
Oh,
it's something on your speaker, on your computer.
If you go down to the audio, like if you like where it says mute, can you pick different speakers? You can't hear me, but
hey,
Susan.
Okay,
I'm gonna
Megan?
restart my computer. Yeah.
Okay, Anisha, tell again and I'll
if
translate.
you go to the mute,
Go
you
to
know,
the mute.
the little arrow next
Yep.
to mute, and it says select a speaker or select a microphone.
Yep.
So go to the mutes.
I see it.
select-
Yeah.
Are the like you can choose different ones and it might work.
So choose a different mic and a different speaker.
Can you
Good.
hear us?
She's doing it. I don't
Okay,
know if she-
it worked.
You
I
work?
just chose a different speaker. That's so random. Okay, thanks.
Okay,
So hot.
are you on here? I don't see you, Megan. Oh, you're
I'm
co-host, so I'm gonna try and make you host now. Make host. Okay, I'm making you host now.
Okay, thanks.
At least we know how to get through this stuff now, or at least Anisha does.
I know.
We're gonna
a
make
year
her-
ago, we've been like,
We're gonna make her
meeting.
Zoom master of the board.
No.
Oh my
God,
gosh.
no. Can't do more things, Susan. Okay, so we can go ahead and get started. I think we might have a small crew today. Richard already let me know that he's not going to be here. I sent around the minutes. Oh, hey, Herman. I sent around the minutes from last month. Wanted to know if there are any comments or questions about that, changes to be made. Otherwise, we can go ahead and do the roll call for attendance. Okay, great. So no changes on that. Megan, do you want to go ahead and do roll call?
sure. Anisha Stephen,
Yes.
Megan Joy, yes. Alistair Economakis,
Yes.
Andrea Gordillo,
Yes.
Herman Hewitt,
Yes.
David Louis, is he here?
He's not on.
Oh,
No.
sorry. Alexandra Militano, Richard Rubiak, no. Rodney Washington,
Yes.
and Andrew Comey.
Yep.
Okay, great. So today on the agenda, we have the update on the special district. We're going to do district needs. We'll hear a report from arts and culture. Those are the main things we're going to do. We can start with the special district outreach and planning. In April, Andrew and I did a presentation. It feels like long ago, even though it wasn't. Andrew and I did a presentation to Avima, which was supposed to be sort of the first of a series. And this is, we had a bunch of agenda items last month. So this is our sort of follow-up and planning out what is next around the special district. Andrew, I don't know if you want to give any thoughts about how that meeting went or any takeaways you got.
Yeah, I guess I thought it went fine. My takeaway would be that we probably went too deep into the details for the group that was gathered, because some of the group that was gathered has been coming to our meetings and know what we're doing, but it was a much bigger group than I see Bonnie's on the call, than Bonnie and some folks who have been coming to the meeting. So I think we need to do a next step with them, and perhaps a larger group of merchants that lays this out more on a macro level and then goes into the micro. And you should feel free to agree or disagree, but that was my assessment. It seemed like we got into the details very quickly, and there was a lot of people who didn't really even know what special district.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the challenge of communicating the special district is that it's an incredibly wonky thing at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And the thing that we want feedback on from people is not necessarily just the concept of a special district, because everybody sort of understands the concept in broad strokes. It's that we need them to actually give us feedback on the details. So we have to figure out a better way.
Yeah.
Do that. And I think it's especially challenging over Zoom, I will say. I think like when you're actually explaining something through diagrams, perhaps in person, it's easier for people to understand than it is.
But we've had one meeting, so now there wasn't time. And I also felt, and I think if we go back to them, we have to do it differently. We were 10 minutes on their board agenda, which didn't really give any time for dialogue or questions. So I would say if we do another one with them, it should be either we should be the only item or half the meeting, such that it's not you and I speaking for 10 minutes and them really not having any time to formulate questions before they moved on to the rest of their agenda. So I think Anisha froze.
Right.
Anisha, are you frozen? I think she's frozen.
Yeah, she's frozen.
Now Andrew's disappeared.
No, I'm here, Alistair. I just
Oh.
came off camera.
Oh, okay. Anisha's disappeared. Hopefully she'll come back in.
So anyway, that's my takeaway. I think we can continue. We could use Avima as a platform to reach out to merchants, and we should do. And I think Jimmy asked for it. We should do another one with them and/or other merchants included under that umbrella, that gives them a lot more time to interact with the materials.
I was gonna say, let's just give it for a minute to try to get on. Oh, she said, keep going. Okay. So yeah, I mean, next step. So just to like, oh, actually, I'll call on Laura because she's got her hand raised. Go ahead, Laura.
Yeah, no, I was just going to follow up on what Andrew said. I just asked how it went, and that's right on target. I think they want to meet and sort of discuss it. There's a lot of new members in Avima who have not necessarily been through this process with us the way, you know, the folks who stood in front of the Starbucks in 2017 have been through the whole thing. So they want to meet and sort of discuss it amongst themselves, and then they totally would like to dedicate, I think, a whole meeting to a Q&A where they, you know, we could just talk about it in layman's terms, and they could just ask, if I want to do this, would I still be able to do it? You know, very simple way. So that's the plan. I also just want to say, when we get there, I think a year ago, I had offered to host like a broader event, which included some maybe not necessarily Avima merchants, and we're certainly, you know, happy to do that and do it with them, hopefully, but
yeah.
do more outreach than just Avima. Okay.
Thank you. Just write that down.
Next step in our outreach on the special district, I think, would be merchants part 2. We can just call it that, and it could be co-hosted by EVCC and Avima. And we can figure out how to get that calendared.
Let's see.
Hi, Anisha.
Hey, hey, you good now?
Sorry about that. This is why I shouldn't be the Zoom person for the board. My internet has been really bad all day. I apologize.
We just last we said the next meeting, if we do another meeting with Avima, they said it should be more than 10 minutes, and maybe that we're the only item on the agenda so that the merchants have plenty of time for Q&A.
Okay, that makes
Actually, I thought the next step would be something more broader than Avima, sort of co-hosted by EVCC and Avima, so that it's, you know, we can do it at a time that's convenient to Avima, but that we capture non-Avima merchants as well. And if we're fine with that, Laura can start working with Cooper Square and see what that
Yeah, and
looks
if they
like.
want their own one-on-one too, we can do both. Yeah.
Do we want to do it as something like a town hall, or is it different from a town hall, I guess?
We had always talked about, you know, going obviously pre-pandemic, we talked about doing a series of town halls. And the idea was to use Avima as sort of a way to outreach to do a merchant town hall. And obviously everything went haywire and sort of we got boiled down to let's just do something to keep momentum going at an Avima board meeting. So I would say we want to do a merchant town hall. And whoever is willing to sponsor that, I heard Laura say EVCC was, and Avima I'm sure would, then that would be our merchant town hall, and we do a presentation and have Q&A.
Yeah, and meanwhile, I don't know if Anisha heard that Jimmy was interested in having just a dedicated Avima meeting on this, so we can do both, whatever works in whatever order.
Got it. I think it makes sense to do a dedicated town hall for it because it was what we had planned on doing before. I think a couple of concerns that came out of the Avima meeting were some of the questions really about like how this fits into a post-pandemic or like recovery period of time. I think it's something that the group committee should consider about how we frame that, because we haven't really discussed necessarily the proposal since the pre-pandemic, the pre-pan times. So I think like that is going to keep on coming up, and we should, you know, visit that at some point. Yeah, so I think there were questions about that. And then some of the general questions that we've seen over and over again, like, you know, has this been vetted by an economist, all of those things. And I think the answer to a lot of that stuff is that like, as this process continues, some of that will happen for the city planning work, but there are questions that we continuously have to address. So Susan, I see your hand up.
Yeah, when it's talking about these town halls and who's sponsoring, I think it just needs to be clear, is this going to be a community board 3 meeting or not? Are we being invited to another meeting and presenting? You know, all those things are fine, but we just have to be clear what it is.
I think it's we should assume that this is a community board 3 town hall. So
that's a lot of work. I just want to make sure. I mean,
Yeah, that was,
I've been involved in a number of town halls, and I just want to say it's a lot of work to put on a town hall.
yeah, I don't think that was, I don't think that was the plan we laid out, right? We did a big town hall, then we went to the streets and did the surveys. And then the plan we laid out was that we would do targeted town halls, but that they were sort of sponsored by other groups, right? So we said we would go to NYCHA tenant association meetings, et cetera. Because Susan did raise this pre-pandemic, that doing a big town hall, even pre-pandemic, was an enormous amount of resources. So we can, Avima can host it. I don't have a horse in the race who hosts it, but I think that's what we would do.
I don't think it's necessarily a town hall. I think it's just
Right.
presenting at those meetings. I think that's the distinction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to make a comment also. I think when we did have that big town hall, we didn't have the plan at that time that we have now. So what we're presenting now is, I think, 100% different than the town hall, because as a town hall, we talked about, we want to have a special district
Right.
that will do such and such. And that was it. There was nothing about the special district. We now have real details. So I do think in a sense, it's like starting over as far as what the special district entails.
But didn't we get feedback from that we needed to do more outreach to stakeholders?
We
And
did,
that's what we laid out, right?
but the outreach, I'm just saying, is totally different than the first plan. Yes, absolutely needed to do outreach, but what I'm saying is what we presented at that first town hall almost doesn't count because we did not present a plan. We didn't have a plan.
Megan, I saw your hand up, and then Laura, I'll come to you.
No, you answered what I was going to say.
Yeah, so I just thought that what I remember, it's been a while and a lot has happened, was that it would be Avima landlords, if we can arrange that, certain stakeholder groups where we really explain the nitty-gritty of the plan and give them a chance to ask questions, and then like a bigger town hall with residents. So it's sort of at the end game of after we get feedback from stakeholders who may cause changes in the plan as it gets worked on, right?
Got it. Megan.
Yeah, that's what I remember too. It wasn't like a series of town hall. I remember that it was like kind of culminating in a town hall, but that there would be sort of like, you know, a few of us that would hop around to these different meetings who, you know, a few of us who were like well-versed in plan, answering questions and stuff like that. I don't think really any of us are there yet, but I mean, we at least know the framework to explain to people what we're considering. I also agree with Anisha, though, that I think we haven't looked at this plan in light of post-pandemic, and a lot's changed since, and a lot hasn't. So, I mean, I think it's just worth the discussion.
So I guess there are two ways that we can go from here. We can decide to do, or like we should plan to do more of these meetings. Laura, you and I can coordinate something. Or I don't know, like the board isn't meeting in August, so I guess we could try to do something in July, but it's probably like September, October, November. We should probably try to do a series with different stakeholder groups. I am happy to do some of these presentations, but I will also be emailing the committee to do some of these presentations because I have a job and other things that I also need to do with my life. So I will ask the committee to participate. And then we can either have the discussion now about what we think the post-pandemic world and the special district looks like, or we can do that for our July meeting also. Like we can do it in July meeting and I can give some thoughts, or if anybody else has any thoughts on if we should ask somebody to come and talk to us, or if we should just take a fresh look at the plan to get ourselves reacquainted with it. And see if it still makes sense in any way.
I would vote for us taking a fresh look at it. And I don't know if we'll have more of our committee attending in July or less, but that's why, we either do it tonight or we maybe we kick it till July and see if we can get more of our committee present.
I agree. I don't think we're really prepared to have that discussion tonight. And I think there was a lot that came out in the Furman report that would be relevant to that conversation, but like I don't have that at my fingertips right now.
So I will circulate it in advance of the next meeting, and then also the Furman report and all of that. So like come to the next meeting prepared to discuss it
Right.
and see like what makes sense on that.
And we have the district stuff to do tonight. So we let's make it such that it gets the time it needs, and we're not trying to squeeze it into another long meeting, because last month's meeting was supposed to be short. And
Yeah.
it was long. It was long.
Alistair?
All right, if the July meeting doesn't have a lot of members there, for example, I might not be able to attend that meeting. And if others are not there, do you want to propose to push it, or do you still want to go ahead and discuss it in July if there's
I think we should still discuss it in July if we want to keep on doing any sort of outreach for it. But I think we'll probably like through the fall have more times to revisit it, honestly, because we'll have to discuss the feedback from any of these groups, etc. So
Yeah, also because we don't meet in August, Alistair.
yeah.
And this,
Okay.
I'm sorry, this is just an operational thing. Have we now officially moved from the first Wednesday of every month
I believe so, yes.
to what are we officially now?
I believe we are the Monday, the second Monday.
Do you want to keep that? And the reason I'm asking is because holidays are often on Monday.
I loved, frankly, for me personally, but
The first Wednesday.
the first Wednesday was great. Mondays are terrible for
Yeah.
me.
Can't do that. But Mondays mean a lot of changes because of Monday holidays.
So let us work on that, Andrew. The conflict really is that arts and culture needs to meet prior to us in order to have any resolutions that they work on in a month approved in the same month. Otherwise, it basically takes them 3 months to get anything through approved into the board. So, but there are conversations about a lot of things happening.
So could the second Wednesday of the month work?
Could we, I don't
Or is
have,
it Wednesdays that are bad?
Could we maybe look at the calendar after the meeting? I don't have it with me.
Sure.
And then maybe send out to members a couple of possibilities and
That would be great.
see what works for most people.
Yep.
Okay, that sounds good. We will do that. And then Andrea, do you want to do a quick arts and culture update? What you guys talked about in your meeting last week, and then we'll do the district names.
Sure. So we just did a quick presentations from some of the people involved with open culture. And yeah, we discussed some of the challenges, some things that might interest you all are, insurance, coverage of all the different things involved with operating events for open culture. So we might revisit some of those later on. And then we went into a discussion about district needs. This was our last time we would meet before September. So we really had to finalize that. And Anisha, would you like me to go into it? Because yeah, I'm assuming I'm happy to share my screen, or I can give the top line district needs.
I think, Susan, do we have to approve or look at the arts and culture?
Yes. Your committee votes on it. The subcommittees don't report to the full board, so they're reporting to you, and you will send it to the full board.
Okay, well, we can do it next month anyway, since we we'll have to go through it in more detail.
Okay.
We're still meeting in July, so let's plan on doing that in July.
Okay. So you don't want to look at them right now, right?
No.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. We'll have them.
Okay.
Yeah, I have to send them back, so hopefully it's a clean version by.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Susan.
So I think the process, this is a complicated process because we have a base document that so you made changes, and I believe they've already been put into the base document, and I believe I sent that to Anisha this morning.
Oh, okay.
So I believe we have everything from your committee already.
Okay.
Then you'll see it on the screen in just a second.
Yeah, but it'll be good for you, to verify that.
Okay, cool. So let's go into district names. Megan, I shared a Google Doc with you that has it.
Okay, give me one sec.
And to track the changes, you'll have to switch it to suggesting.
Okay, one sec. Is it, yes.
Draft economic development DNS 6721.
7.21.
Yeah.
Okay. 16 gigs.
Could I just mention that we have a new board member, Jeanette Kim, listening in on the meeting?
Oh, hi, Jeanette.
Hi, Jeanette.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Anisha, do you need me to open it in Word, or can I keep it in Google Docs?
You just need to be able to track the changes.
Okay, I'm just gonna open it in Word because I don't know how to do that in Google Docs.
I also forgot to mention at the beginning of the meeting, if you are a non-committee member, if you could put your name and affiliation in the chat just for record keeping purposes, I would appreciate it.
Yeah, I dropped it, and I can only DM the Manhattan Community Board 3, so
Yes.
checked
But
in.
for anybody else, please put your name.
Yeah.
Much.
Yeah, I think the chat is set up to go only to the host.
Okay, it's great. Let me just review and track.
And share your screen whenever you're ready.
You got it.
And apologies in advance, I might get kicked off again. Every time things get a little interesting on Zoom, My internet conks out.
Okay. Okay, can you guys see that?
Yes. So what you're seeing on the screen, there are 3 sort of suggestions that we had from our last meeting very quickly, as we just talked about the process of the district needs. And then the district office has like an intern, I guess, who is going,
Kayla. Yeah.
yes, Kayla, who is going through and updating some of the text from last year, specifically any research or statistics that are included. So I guess, Megan, if you want to read through it, and then maybe at least for these 3 suggestions that we got from our last meeting, we should find places for those to go in. But if there's any, what?
You just froze.
Oh,
No, it's okay. You're okay now.
okay, anything we need to describe differently or research that needs to happen, we just need to make notes of it. And Megan, just make sure to track change.
Okay. The COVID-19 shutdown in March of 2020 required businesses of all sizes that were deemed non-essential to indefinitely cease, limit, or adapt operations. While restrictions have lifted in varying degrees, the impacts on the economic ecosystem include retail stores, restaurants, bars, arts venues, personal care salons, hotels, and many other local businesses that are concentrated in CD3 experienced significant revenue losses and struggle to pay expenses such as rent, mortgages, utilities, and payroll. Let me just reread that. I think it's just grammatically off. Oh, no, it's okay. Employers were unable to retain jobs, leading to significant unemployment for local residents. Unemployment within reached
Within the city.
within the city, sorry, reached as high as 20% in May 2020 and has now dropped to 11.4% as of April 2021. Many commercial and residential tenants were unable to pay rent to property owners, limiting the ability for landlords to pay operating expenses, including property taxes and mortgages. Particularly impacted were small property owners, including providers and managers of affordable housing, many of which also have commercial space that did not have the same access to capital or influence as large owners or entities. These impacts were especially acute for small businesses located in CD3, particularly those that are immigrant, minority, or women-owned. As a result, many businesses have permanently shuttered, and the remaining are vulnerable to permanent closure or relocation. The medium and long-term impacts on real estate landlords, business, and workers due to COVID-19 are not yet fully known at the time of writing this needs statement. Reducing regulatory and financial barriers in order to support and stabilize existing businesses and also to attract a diversity of new businesses will be critical. Prior to COVID-19, there had already been a sustained loss of independent mom and pop stores, providing a variety of goods and services in CD3 due to increasing costs of doing business and increased competition from chains, and a saturation of destination bars and restaurants. As the local economy becomes more homogeneous, in order to meet basic needs, residents must increasingly leave our community or shop online, a trend further accelerated by COVID-19. In a December 2020 survey showing chain store business impacts by the COVID-19 shutdown, there was a drop in the number of chain stores throughout the city. Manhattan saw the biggest losses of chain stores, shrinking by 17.4%, accounting for more than half of all chain store closures, 518 out of 1,021 citywide. In CB3, there were 22 chain stores in zip code 1009, down from 31 in 2019, and 42 chain stores in zip code 1002, down from 51 in 2019. While the district lost approximately 18 chain stores, still significant, the still significant presence of these stores has altered the character of the Lower East Side by shifting purchasing power to mass market retailers and constructing facades out of context with the rest of the historical community. Retail stores that do not survive in our community are threatened by the rising costs of doing business in New York City without sufficient relief or protection from the city. Merchant organizing and additional opportunities for city support. CD3 is represented by the following business improvement districts: the Chinatown Bid, the Lower East Side Partnership, the Village Alliance, the Union Square Partnership. Despite the presence of these organizations, many merchants are still not organized into associations and therefore undersupported in a substantial portion of the district. As our community continues to be burdened by a high cost of doing business, Community Board 3 has identified several ways that the city can help us grow and strengthen our local economy. Provide direct support for merchant organizations, continue financial and programming support for our local merchant-based organizations and bids. Consideration of special commercial zoning. CB3 is considering the creation of several special enhanced commercial districts in the East Village. These districts would establish zoning requirements to facilitate a diverse mix of affordable and appropriate retail and service providers that meet local needs, support independently owned businesses, encourage robust daytime foot traffic, and level the competition or level the competitive field of operation between small businesses and large national retail chains. Prioritize comprehensive adult education and job training programs to support district residents to access living wages, career mobility, and job quality. Continue financial and programming support for our local workforce development organizations and spaces like the Union Square Tech Training Center. Will I continue through arts?
We should probably do that one separately. Can I just mention, when we say local workforce, why don't we mention Lower East Side Employment Network?
Yeah, let me just, is Anisha here? I think she got kicked off.
Her internet went out again.
Okay,
She's trying to log back in.
okay. Oops, hold on. Okay, sorry, Susan, where was that?
Where we have Union Square Tech Center. It's at the very bottom of this section.
Yeah,
So where we have local workforce development organizations, we have Union Square Tech Center. Do you want to add Lower East Side Employment Network, which is our big local workforce?
yeah, I'm okay with that. Continue financial programs work for local workers, like the.
Yeah.
Should I put that in like parentheses then?
Yeah, put that, yeah, before, put Lower East Side Employment Network and then parentheses lesson.
Oh, sorry. Side employment network lesson. Yeah. Okay.
Can I add a suggestion?
Sure.
On the second bullet point in the same blue area, consideration of special commercial zoning. Second sentence, it says these districts would establish zoning requirements. Should we add in there with the intention to facilitate a diverse mix of affordable and appropriate retail?
Yeah, I kind of agree with that.
It's, I mean, that's the intention, but I don't know if that's going to be the result.
Anybody This is what to facilitate.
Yeah, up 2
Which-
lines, yeah.
You can say which are intended to facilitate. So zoning requirements which are intended to facilitate.
Oh.
There you go.
Is everything else staying the same?
Yeah, I don't, I mean, I kind of don't agree with that. I mean, I just think that's like a long shot to think that the special district is gonna do all of that, but I mean, like level the competitive field of operation between small businesses and large national retail chains and like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a big, also, are we creating several or one?
It's 3. It's
Really?
because
Oh,
they're different. I mean, we've been looking at them as one, but it's actually, 3 put together because they're slightly different.
okay,
So again, whether this is the outcome or not, it is the intent though to level the playing field between small businesses and large national retail. I mean, that's why we're doing the whole restrictive size of storefronts to try and keep out large big box stores and chain stores. So
I'm okay with it.
I would leave it. We can always, we'll see however many years it takes us to get this through what the outcome is.
Okay. Do you want me to start back up at the top?
yeah,
Megan, I'm back. Please go ahead.
We
Okay.
just rewrote everything.
Yeah.
Sorry, I need to do something about my internet.
so I have a question. When we're talking, I'm not at the very top, but I'm kind of going down when we talk about the chain stores and the number of chain stores decreasing. We don't mention, and again, we're in a weird time, that in addition, we have a lot more vacant storefronts.
Could I ask though, just if we could do a section at a time?
Sorry, Susan, I didn't hear you.
Could we do a section at a time?
Yeah, sorry, that's my fault.
It'd just be a little bit more organized. I mean,
Yep.
maybe there's no changes for this top section, but let's close that
Yeah.
section out first.
Yep. Okay,
And also, that was one of the suggestions from the last
Yeah.
meeting, was to
I
include.
think we do need to have something about vacancies, and I also think maybe our need on retail diversity needs to be more like clear, that it's not like just anti a bunch of things that we're asked, like we also want to see more diversity.
So is that going, any of that in the first section?
I think Susan's suggestion is a good one. Let's just go through.
I can
Chunk
you
by
wanna read
chunk.
the first part then.
What's that, Anisha? Sorry.
Is it that we want to go through the first section again?
Yeah,
We've read the whole thing, so now go through section by section to see where do you want to make changes. Like, I don't know if you want to have any of those changes you're talking about. Are they in this first few paragraphs?
So the first few paragraphs are really about describing the impacts of the COVID-19 shutdown.
So then we can go to the next section.
So Alistair, was your comment in this section before the merchant organizing?
yeah,
So
just
we need
I
to go
think we
back
should
up.
mention something that, there's a huge increase of vacant stores.
Yeah, is there no new data on?
There isn't. I've tried all over. There's almost nothing from COVID in general and absolutely nothing for our district. I've called bids. I looked at the Manhattan Chamber of Commerce. There's nothing at this time. Because one thing I felt that it was very clear that some neighborhoods are suffering much more of a loss than our neighborhood. For instance, Midtown is like blighted.
Yeah.
But there's no data. It's
Can
just,
It's hard to put something in the district needs when we don't have data to support it. Like, we all know it, but like, you kind of need something supporting it, right?
So
Um,
this is from 2019. I think we should continue to see, this doesn't get approved until September, right? We can continue to see if we can get some information about change.
I really doubt if we're gonna get any. I really don't. And I just like to remind people too, this district needs statement is for July, for the year starting July 2022. I mean, you will be able, if stats come out, yes, you will be able to put them in until October. I just don't expect that to happen.
Is there a reason we're emphasizing the loss of chain stores and then at the bottom, basically saying that chain stores have caused us problems?
We're describing what exists. We're talking our needs and we're describing what exists. And, you know, the changes, that was a change that COVID did cause.
I think it's in response, like we've always had, there is a increase in chain stores.
Right.
And I guess now that whatever information from 2019 has shown us that chain stores have actually decreased in the district. So I think just because we do mention anything about chain stores, we're providing this data in here. But I do think that if we can have more up-to-date data by the time this is actually approved by the board, we should wait and see if we can get that.
Who do you think is going to come out with that data? Do you think any professional organizations might?
I'm not sure.
Eater.com professional.
What?
Is eater.com professional? No, we
I
can't
doubt it.
include them.
Or, I mean, we can choose not to include this information since this is for fiscal year 23. Laura, I see your hand up.
Yeah, I mean, I can survey of that 1009 this summer. That's not a problem. Just if it's just the chain information in one zip code or two zip codes that you need, I think we can get that done.
No, it's not the chain, it's the anecdotal. We have a lot of vacant storefronts.
Yeah.
And there's nobody right now, because everybody seems focused on not having vacant storefronts and helping the businesses that exist survive. Nobody's really running around and doing a survey of like this 2020 survey. So we don't have any data that says prior to the pandemic, our vacancy rate was this, and now 16 months into the pandemic, our vacancy rate is this.
Correct.
And
One
Susan-
other thing I would just like to mention, when people have to start paying rent, you know, like when the businesses need to start paying rent, we don't know what we're going to find then.
No.
Right.
Some of them are holding on now because they can't be evicted.
Am I right to say that wasn't, when you own a building and you were filling out that form every year, I forgot what it's called, but didn't this city mandate that you report your vacancies on that? Wasn't that like a new thing that they were gonna do?
So I was going to say they just released that data. That's what Moses and Ben talked about that last month.
Okay.
That Susan, I can send that to you.
Oh, that would
And-
be great.
If we could figure out how to analyze it, it's the citywide data. So if we could figure out how to analyze it in some way, that would be great.
Well, I'll send that to Kayla and see if she can do that.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Sorry, should we, I'm just thinking, since we're talking about vacant storefronts, do we want to mention anything in here with regards to the vacant apartments, fewer people being in the city, which affects the economy as well?
I don't think that's a district need thing. Yes.
I think maybe that might be captured in other sections as well.
So should we just put a note to ourselves or a placeholder in here about potentially adding vacancy data?
Yes, I think
Yeah,
that's
why
right.
don't, yeah, at the end of, why don't you, at the end of this paragraph, put in a note to try, that we should try and do that.
If you put new comments,
Pardon?
if you do new comments, Megan.
Where's that? I'm just,
That's fine.
a little
That's
bit-
fine, whichever is easy.
New comment is right under right under references. Do you see it?
Oh, I see.
Oh no, go back to review.
Okay, hold on.
Sorry.
No, not insert citation. Where?
Go
Go back to review,
Oh, review.
right there.
Sorry. Yep, got it. Oh, but now it's in a weird spot. Oh, I can put it anywhere.
No, I think it's above that.
Oh. Oh, yeah. Right here, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
put it in there.
Okay. Sorry, what did we say? Just get new.
Add vacancy data when available.
Okay.
Did anybody else have any other comments?
Could I mention, I noticed most of this stuff is talking about 2019 mostly, except for the employment statistics for as if 2020 wasn't the most devastating period. That we should be looking at, and what happened in 2021. I know this is for 2022, isn't it, Susan?
It's for, yeah, the year starting July 2022. I think we don't, anything where the data hasn't been updated, it's because we haven't been able to find it.
Okay. One other thing down the bottom in the bullet points, I don't know if you reach there, are you going there sometime? I'd like to say something about that.
Yeah, we're looking at it now.
I know we are all doing this based on CB3, but in terms of where we're saying that the city isn't initiating any protection and anything, is there anywhere that we could put that the city increased funding to the New York City Small Business Administration to provide robust engagement to small businesses? Does that make sense anywhere?
That we need them to, or you want more of that? Or I guess, so this is the district needs, right? So you have to be addressing a need. So is the need that small businesses need more engagement during this critical time?
Yes.
Or like relief programs, recovery programs.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is
Exactly.
this a program we want funding for in our budget priorities?
So, but should we be mentioning it here, Susan, so that the budget priorities can reflect that?
We shouldn't, I mean, if it's something we want to put in the budget priorities, I'm not clear what we're asking for. We do mention local workforce development organizations in the last bullet point. So I'm not clear.
Couldn't that be there also?
Well, you have provide direct support for merchant organizations.
From where?
That's up top. So it's the first bullet, Herman, in this section. But that's providing direct support to bids and merchant organizations. You're talking, I thought I heard you want more engagement.
Yeah.
I think it's that we need literally just more like recovery support from all like level, like the SBA is a federal agency. But so I think it's like from many levels of government or many stakeholders, more engagement and support for small businesses or workforce organizations. Is that right, Herman?
Yeah, who would provide direct support to the merchants? That's what I'm
SBS, wouldn't they? SBS works with the merchant organizations.
Yeah, I think it
right,
would
but
be interesting.
couldn't there be a mention about them there so that we're clear that that's where we're expecting some support? How could it fit there?
They already are, they are supporting, like, if you want a different or more of a specific kind of, is that what you're saying? I mean, there's a tremendous amount of support. Maybe it's not the right support or enough support.
You're saying you want to have, it says provide direct support for merchant organizations. Then I think maybe we can change that sentence to provide direct support for merchant organizations, yada, yada, as well as direct support through SBS to small businesses through recovery program.
Do you
Because
think that's not happening?
even the bids or whatever economic stuff, right? Where is it funded through? When I used to run the Lower East Side bid, SBS used to be one of our major beginning startup and funding source.
So Megan, you work with the bid.
Yeah,
Aren't you getting a lot of support from SBS right now? I mean, I think there's a tremendous amount of support going on.
yeah, I have to say, there wasn't in the beginning, but now there's a lot of people reaching out with, COVID relief, or these are things that these are, ways you can get money, or,
And they're also funding organizations like Cooper Square to work with the merchants.
Yes. No, I just want something to identify that's where I'd be looking to if I'm trying to get support, because it's not all the organizations that that is getting money. There are other small organizations in the Lower East Side that you might not have known about, I'm familiar with, that wants to know that SBS is an integral part of the funding.
But this statement is not to tell organizations where to go.
No.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm convinced, but
I think if we just want to make sure that it's clear that we're asking SBS or like city agencies to be providing that direct support, I think we can make that more clear.
one thing.
Where it says provide direct support, do you want to put provide direct city support for merchant organizations?
something like that.
Okay.
Before direct. No, I'm sorry, you're right.
And then Alistair, I see your hand up.
This section, it only pertains to the merchants, I think, because the way I read this, looking at it from a little bit of a distance, we talk about a lot of things, and then this is our very final paragraph, which basically says, the Community Board 3 has identified several ways that the city can help grow and strengthen our local economy. When I read that sentence and see this at the end of the document, this seems to be kind of our conclusion about everything, not just merchants. And I just want to understand, is this just pertains to the merchant section? If so, should we have kind of a bullet point at the end of the previous section as to what our main recommendations are? It's very heavy hand. One can interpret this as this is essentially all our recommendations from economic development, though, especially with a sentence, the sentence above the blue writing, where we say we've identified several ways the city can help grow and strengthen our local economy.
I think that the first bullet point is specifically about merchant organizations, but if we want to add additional bullet points about anything else, we can. This is a
Okay.
needs document though. So like if
Right.
there are specific policy recommendations, those we can do as resolutions in the future.
Right.
So we should be, it's sort of a weird, I mean, honestly, it's sort of weird the way these bullets are described anyway, but
Special zoning come in as a need when that's not, I mean, that's something that the second bullet point, we're not asking for a need there. That's kind of a statement.
yeah, I mean, I think it's to draw attention to that specific.
Right, so we want to draw attention then to other things, more capital for businesses, barriers of entry, things that we previously discussed too. And put that in here as a bullet point if this is kind of going to be, I just looked at it now and that's how I'm reading it. This is kind of our main conclusion, and I think we could maybe add a bullet point or two.
Can I just suggest, we don't want a laundry list of things. And the community board, the specific format that was actually voted on probably about 10 years ago, was to have it as succinct as possible, and definitely not have, just put in policy or laundry list of things. It's, our needs and our priority assessment of what exists now and our priority needs. And you do not want a laundry list. And,
No, but we could add 1 or 2 bullet points in there that are out, that if this is going to be our conclusion. But yeah, no, I agree with you, Susan. We
Just say, reading the 2 sentences, reading the 2 lines of sentences above, you don't have to put any that city direct support and just leave it at that. You don't have to including it. That's from my statement that says those 2 lines above the bullet points makes it not necessary to do that. Yeah, okay. That's from me. Leave it like that.
Okay. Alistair, do you have any specific suggestions of what you think would fit in there?
I mean, I would go back to what we've mentioned before, but bring it in here as a bullet point of, reducing the regulatory environment and the cost of doing business in the city, so we can attract more businesses. We basically need to attract more businesses coming back into the city and opening up shop and hiring people. So, my feeling is, I think we've discussed this, that, there's barriers of entry. It's extremely expensive. So we need, businesses need capital, or reduction of the capital costs, and the bureaucracy can be tremendously streamlined in many different ways.
Yeah, I really agree with that, actually. After our last meeting, when it was so abundantly clear that, I mean, the big hurdle on opening a new business is all these crazy regulations and city agencies not talking to each other, and things can really be a lot more streamlined in that process. And they're also expensive. So I wouldn't mind putting in a sentence to have reducing regulations and red tape. I don't know if red tape's the technical term, in order to lower the barrier of entry for new businesses to open.
To put bureaucracy.
At the top, those 3 suggested bullet points from the last meeting, I feel like they can kind of be combined into the regulatory barriers.
Oh, we already had it. Yeah, it's right there.
Yeah. So if we can combine some of 2 and 3 into a bullet point, I think that also speaks to this idea of the retail diversity part, right? That what we have is saturation of 1 or 2 types of businesses, and we want a diversity of more. But
Exactly. So like, if we make it easier for small businesses to open, we're gonna get more different types of small businesses. And I understand, like, this is a need statement, and we're not supposed to be putting really suggestions or policies in there, but we do have a few, like, let's make them the ones that we want. Like, either we don't put any, or we put ones that we all agree are really important. All right, so let me work on, maybe I can work on a sentence to combine two and three.
I don't think you want to say just remove regulatory requirements. I think you want to say something about, because you can't remove regulatory requirements. People still need to renovate spaces up to code. People still need to make sure that they're ADA compliant, et cetera. You don't want to remove all that stuff. You just want to make the bureaucracy has to move faster.
Yeah, but there's also a lot of problems, Andrew, where there's like one city agency's rule will what's the word?
They conflict with each
Will
other.
contradict the other city agencies.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
like, there's a lot that like of these old rules that actually just need to be cleaned up, and it's such a gigantic project that like nobody's doing it.
Right. No, so that's my point. And, we run small businesses at Housing Works. We run 12 thrift stores and a licensed bookstore. So we know what it takes when we try to open a business. But that's why I'm saying, so you don't want to, it's not about removing the requirements. It's not about saying, DOB shouldn't inspect or DOH shouldn't inspect. It's about streamlining the process and making the process more consistent and or concise.
I never said
Efficient.
I just said reduce the regulatory barriers, or reduce the bureaucracy. That was your word, Susan. I don't know if that's.
Well, I don't think we just want to reduce the barriers. I think we want to streamline them and make it more efficient.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, because
Like
it's just
we
taking
spoke-
away a number of them isn't going to help. They have to be revamped.
Can simply.
Right, we spoke about, one-stop shopping. For example, you get a violation, you get a DOB violation, you also get an ECB violation, you got to deal with two different agencies. You want to get a permit, you got to get a plumbing permit, you got to get a construction permit, you're going to get an electrical permit, you got to get separate sign-offs for all of them. You can still have all the requirements there, but this whole process can be streamlined, so it's a lot more cost effective for businesses. And also time is money. And for these businesses sitting there waiting for, months on end to get their permits or their sign-offs or whatever it is, all that is very costly. So I agree, it's not a matter of.
So how about something like streamlining the process for small businesses to secure the required permits and approvals to open?
And also remain open, I think. Streamlining the process for small businesses to
secure the appropriate permits, or whatever you want to call it, or I forget what I just said.
Yeah, no, it's good. I got it. Streamlining the process for small businesses to secure the appropriate permits in order to reopen quickly and efficiently.
Open/reopen quickly and economically.
Efficiently also.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Okay, so right now we have streamlining the process for small businesses to secure the appropriate permits in order to reopen quickly and efficiently.
Permits and approvals, because everything's not a permit.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So to Alice's point, you can put we're trying to open a healthcare clinic. We waited a year for Con Edison to do anything. So we had the permit, they just didn't approve it.
There's no will there.
Yeah, it's terrible.
There's just no will to do it.
Megan, could you please let Anisha back in? Sorry, she's having trouble again.
Isha. Yeah.
So we're gonna make that a bullet down in the bottom,
Okay.
In the blue area,
in the blue
right?
area.
I don't see her waiting to be admitted.
She
And
actually
we'll-
admitted her-
Megan, maybe put it right under the bid merchant stuff. Before the special district. Because it kind of ties directly to small businesses.
Do you want to start it off with something like reducing the cost of doing business for small businesses such as?
It's not just cost, it's cost and barriers.
Yeah.
Right.
Lowering the barriers.
Right.
Barriers of entry,
The barriers and cost of doing business?
No, I think you got it. Barriers of entry to open. Well, no, you said later open/reopen.
So hold on,
Yeah.
lowering the barriers of entry by streamlining the process.
Yep.
We could look at this in a second.
Okay, go back to process and fix the spelling.
What about, is appropriate spelled right? Appropriate.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe started lowering the barriers of entry for small businesses.
And I have small businesses right here.
But then take it out from there by streamlining the process. Entry.
For them to
Yeah.
for them to secure. Actually, I kind of like it this way better. Lowering the barriers of entry for small businesses to open by streamlining the process
For them.
for them to secure the appropriate permits and approvals.
No, see now it's redundant.
well, just take out in order to. More,
Just to
Yep.
secure the appropriate permits and approvals quickly and efficiently.
Efficiently,
Yeah.
yeah.
yep,
What do you want me, sorry, say that again?
Just delete in order to open there, Megan.
Did we want to say anything, that other bullet point around access to capital? Particularly for people of color opening businesses.
is that like through bank loans and that kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, I think that was a problem before COVID. People of color and well, more people of color just having less of a opportunity for capital.
We had what was the third bullet point at the very top from the meeting notes from last? Lack of access to capital, especially for people of color, is also a barrier to opening a new business.
So, and the need could be, what we could say, an increased access to capital, especially for people of increased access to capital.
Well, do we put this in the bullet points or do we put it in an area or do we put it in, do we address it as a need? I mean, it seems like by addressing the need, it's very, is it not obvious what the solution is? But again, that's another thing that like, we don't have any statistics around it. And aren't we supposed to have statistics?
Yeah.
Well, could you just make a note on that then to look for statistics? I'm sure I work in banking, like I'm sure I can find that. I think that is a barrier to entry for small businesses, just as permitting and getting approvals is, especially for like entrepreneurs of color, for new businesses in the neighborhood. So I would like to have something about that in the district needs if possible.
Okay, so look for stats on this.
Yeah. So I feel like that sort of encompasses, the bullet points that we were missing and any other comments that we thought were missing in here. So it looks like our next steps are to find a couple more statistics in areas that we were missing. And then we have another month to look at this in July and make any additional changes. So for tonight, is there anything else that anybody would like to bring up for the district needs statement?
I just want to clarify the statistics that we're looking for is one, this access of capital for people of color, and the other is regarding vacancies in our district, right?
Yes. And the vacancy one is that Department of Finance data set that I'll send you.
Okay.
Okay, if there are no more questions on that, I think we can revisit this in July at our next meeting.
Is this done? We were going to try to finalize things as much as possible. Is this done then, other than the two statistics on how to include those?
Well, I guess we didn't discuss where we would mention the vacancies, but.
Well, yeah, but other than including those two things, is it done other than that?
I'm okay with it.
Me too.
I think so.
So we're going to accept all these change. We're going to have the notes to add those two things, and then we'll accept the changes, all the other changes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I think the arts and culture one is included in this.
Yes, on the bottom.
Andrea, I don't know if you want to walk through, what time is it? It's 7:47, so we could give it a few minutes. Andrea, if you want to walk through some of the changes that you made for arts and culture.
Sure. Yeah, I made the changes in a Google Doc, and so I don't believe I gave it back to the office. So I'm gonna
Jim,
if
I
we can
think
quickly review it.
Jim thought he put all the changes in. Is that not true?
Oh, maybe if Jim was mirroring what I was doing, then maybe, yeah. But if I could, I'm sorry, I didn't get a chance to review this portion. So if you could scroll down a little bit, Megan, I just want to make sure that they were incorporated. The needs are sort of at the bottom.
Is it CD3 or CB3? Because
CD,
CB. There's a lot
community
of,
district. The board is you guys, the district is the geographical area.
okay, I got it.
Keep going, Andre.
Yeah, so it's not updated.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
So then let's do it next month then.
Yeah.
And we'll make sure
Okay.
we have it.
Can you send me the updates in the next day or two?
Yes, I was planning to do that. Yes.
Okay.
Mhm. Okay, So should we just move on, or would you like me to kind of give a general overview?
Let's do it in July so that
Okay.
we'll give it to people in advance to review.
Sure. Yeah, the concepts are all there. We just kind of finessed it a little bit. Yeah. So yeah, well, I'll send over the revised version and we can revisit it in July.
Okay.
Okay. The only last thing on the agenda is like bid and cab reports. I'm not sure if anybody has gone to any bid or cab meetings since our last, like, in the past couple of months. I will be going to, there's going to be a cab meeting for the Union Square Tech Training Center in the next month or two. So there'll probably be an update on that fairly soon. That building is near completion. So I'll be able to give sort of a full update in the next 2 months on that. Besides that, any other last questions, comments, concerns? Sorry about my internet today. I'll fix that. Economic development,
Okay.
Okay.
Roll call. Nisha Stephen,
Yes.
Megan Joy, yes. Alistair Economakis,
Yes.
Andrea Gordillo,
Yes.
Herman Hewitt,
Yes.
David Louie, Alexandra Militano, Richard Ropiak, Rodney Washington,
Yes.
and Tommy.
Okay, great. Thanks, everybody. I'll see you all in July. I appreciate your time tonight.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.